When we walk down that aisle, 98% of us never imagined things would go where they did. I guess there's the 2%. I hear about people who got married and they said, I just knew when I walked down that aisle I shouldn't be doing this. I thought, well, should have turned and run, but I guess with social pressure, that's just a little awkward. But most of us went into our marriages totally optimistic of what the future would bring. And then we enter the honeymoon phase, which is just wonderful, right? It's so easy. And you just start living your happily ever after. But to me, it wasn't the wedding that was so important. I remember telling people that one of the happiest days of my life was the day I decided who I was going to spend the rest of my life with. I was driving down a road and I just sort of looked over. I think we're at a four-way stop and I don't even know what was on the radio. I don't know what she was thinking, but I remember it clicked. This is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And that's when I started really digging in, leaning in, thinking about the ring, thinking about asking her to be with me for the rest of my life. The decision day was the most important day, right? Not the asking, not the day itself, not the wedding, none of that. It was the decision. But then the divorce, right? When it happens, it just hits you like a ton of bricks. You're forced into rethinking about absolutely everything in your life. Your home, your job possibly, your identity. You were one and now you're not. Your friends and your relationships with your children and even the relationship with God. You're starting all over. You're resetting. Every marriage is lived both in the present and in the future. You were probably, like me, constantly thinking about the both of you as a couple and where you're going to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. A married couple is like two trees that are growing side by side. The longer they grow next to one another, the more intertwined their root systems become, and the harder it is to extricate one from the other. Divorce naturally takes away any dreams and expectations that the two of you shared together, often leaving you confused, and you're forced into learning how to build a brand new life that does not include your ex or even the ex's family or the circles that y'all have created of neighbors and extended family and all those traditions that you built side by side, all gone. And this is why newly divorced, individuals find it so hard and difficult to look forward, that you can feel yourself stuck in the past, unable to reconcile that this chapter of your life is over. And you're continually replaying what went wrong. And you're, thinking through all the pain and the negativity. And what happens is depression. Depression is a real thing. It comes with numbing and isolation. And it's not just thinking through the divorce issues and your new lifestyle. It's the crushing of all those forward thinking dreams. They're all gone. And so your relationship died and your dreams died. And I don't think we spend near enough time thinking about the crushing of those dreams. Your vows that you said before God and others was a commitment to being a team, and that team was forward thinking. And then one day it all comes crashing down with the judge's order. So once again, processing a divorce is complex. There are the issues, the fighting, the affairs, the abuse, addictions, and all the above. Some of you literally have to deal with all the above. Sometimes it's just one thing that causes the divorce. And then you have the sub issues, that one fight, that one sentence that was said, or that one trip back 5 years ago changed everything. And then, of course, there's the root issues of the divorce. Could be sin, personality disorders. And there's the fights, the circular fights that lead to more fights and repeated tension areas in your relationship with your spouse. And then, of course, there's a divorce drama itself. Unyoking is so hard. There's so many layers. This is the dumpster fire of it all. And you are mentally exhausted coming out of that. So you have this divorce grief, if you will, and that's the conflicting feelings caused when you have sort of a similar familiar pattern of behavior and it changes or ends. It leads you into this spiral of grief. So you have these conflicted feelings and the heartbreak and the hurt, sometimes the relief, and maybe a little hope that are totally normal at the end of any relationship, right? But those who've never gone through this, like we have, they just don't understand this idea of broken dreams. They've never had to process it. And so I just thought it'd be important to talk about it a little bit because it's very, very real.